I tried to build a robot to automatically decorate Christmas cookies because every year my girlfriend makes these gorgeous cookies and I wanted to help out even though I can't bake and I'm not creative. Here's how that all went down. I decided to start off by using my 3D printer as a base for this project because it already has the ability to move left and right. I just need to figure out how to make it dispense icing. I settled on trying to use one of these syringes because not only can it dispense the icing, but I can also pull it back up when I don't want to dispense it anymore. I just needed to find a way to automate that syringe, so I decided I was going to try to use the 3D printer's extruder motor. This motor is the one that actually extrudes the hot plastic on a 3D printer. I thought maybe I could use this to extrude icing. So I started off by taking a really old broken 3D printer and extracted the motor off it to design around, spent some time on the computer, and I came up with this, a rack-and-pinion design where this gear turns and it pushes down this plunger. You might see where this is going. Printed it off, and this is how it all turns out. You'll see how it all comes together here in a second, and I'm really happy with how these prints turned out. Basically, the plunger sits in it like this, and then when the motor turns, it's going to push down the syringe. You'll see here I have the motor mounted up with the gear. When this gear turns, the syringe starts pushing down, and that will then dispense icing. I started feeling really good about this at this point and thought it might actually work. Now, that whole setup was pretty clunky, so I got this tube and printed a little nozzle on it so I could mount it elsewhere on the printer and then just mount this tube to the part that moves around. I just had to print this little bracket for it that's going to sit right on top of the gantry here that's going to move left and right, and then the tube's going to slot into it. Here's the final product. You'll see here I have the motor and the syringe mounted on the side here. Then the tube goes down and that mounts to the gantry, which is the part that moves left and right. I was feeling really good about this at this time, so I thought I'd just test it. Here's the first test of me manually spinning the motor. You'll see here that actually pretty smoothly pulls the syringe up here. I just have it hot glued. That's how it pulls it up. And crucially, pushes it down. You'll see the syringe going down here. This is my first time trying it and I actually got really excited. I was feeling good about it at this point. Last step was to figure out how to get it to output icing, so I started by taking a picture of this gingerbread man that I want to ice, brought it over into an online 3D modeling software, and came up with this cute little design. Because I used all the 3D printing parts, including the motor that extruded the plastic, I was able to build a custom 3D printer profile to extrude this, and I didn't need to do any custom software. This was huge. I did have to change a ton of settings, especially this flow one, which changes how much plastic flows out of the nozzle at a given time. I'd turn this way down because the icing flowed really quickly. But after that, I was ready to go, so I grabbed some icing sugar, whipped up some icing, and then used another syringe to load up the machine. The first time I did this, I made it way too thick and jammed the whole thing up, so this was round 2. But once I got thin icing, this was the first try. Didn't go great. It was super messy. I didn't line anything up, and there was way too much icing extruded. But I felt like I was getting kind of somewhere. This ended up taking like 3-4 hours of troubleshooting. I made sort of snack in between them. But after a few hours, this is where I got, and I felt good about the lines that were being produced. It wasn't perfect, but I was ready to whip out the gingerbread man. So I grabbed this little blank homie, courtesy of my girlfriend, laid him down, and then I started the printer. Honestly, this whole thing wasn't perfect. This was more of a project for fun and obviously wasn't meant to be anything practical. You'll see here that the final result isn't amazing by any means, but for something that I made just in a few hours, just for fun on an evening, I'm pretty happy with how this thing turned out. You'll see here none of the lines are extruding evenly. There's some spots that are missed, but in theory, it did end up working. I'm just going to let you guys watch this because this was so cool to me. If I did want to further refine this, I did learn a ton. The main things would be redesigning things to use sturdier plastics. With the icing and the tube, there's actually a lot of torque needed to move the syringe. So I'd need to redesign things to make there not nearly as much play when extruding the icing. But I thought for a V1, having something that at least kind of sort of works here, this thing is super dope. Let's take a look at the finished product. He's not perfect, but he is very clearly a gingerbread man. He's got a cute little face. This is him. I'm super proud of it. This was made by a robot. I decided to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Tasted good, even though it didn't look so good. Decided to totally retire this project. This was by far the stickiest project I ever made. There was icing everywhere. I'm going to hold on to this little mechanism, though, as a memento, because even though it wasn't perfect, I am still really proud that I was able to design it and solve the problem I was looking to solve in just an hour or two. Anyway, that's how I use my evening to take a really simple problem and solve it with a really complicated solution. Thanks for watching.